Hey, welcome to another edition of Blue Jay Banter. Today, I am Tim Turner, and apparently live from the CHI Health Center. My
Well,
friend Mike
Tim,
Schmidt is there. It seems like there's a large crowd there. It's
quite the crowd here. And it, you know, it's it's quite exciting because I'm warped back into at least last year, as you can tell by that scoreboard, is not the beautiful new scoreboard. So
uh,
we're time traveling, and you know, down here at the Chai Center. It's a great
hey,
morning.
so speaking of scoreboard, so what are your like 30-second thoughts on the game production this year?
Um, I A few thoughts. Okay. Welcome back, cheerleaders. Maybe lead some cheers. That would be
Yeah,
cool. Um, uh, Band, I know you try hard, but ugh,
band didn't sound good this year.
no.
Normally I think they sound okay.
Yeah, and maybe it's preseason for the band as well.
Yeah, well,
Um, so they may iron out some of that. Um, I heard you guys talk about the intro music. I couldn't agree more. That I mean, and we've tried so many things. We know what works. Just go back to power.
yeah,
Um,
really, nobody
you know,
cares.
yeah, and it it was interesting that they didn't have the big gun. Um, where we sit. I'm never expecting a T-shirt, but for
Yeah,
those
they
that,
didn't have the big rotary gun, maybe something happened there. Maybe
yeah.
they might have to rent that thing, and it's probably costly. They're trying to cut costs.
Well, I wish I was in the big T-shirt gun rental business because I know who I'd be talking to. And
Alright, so today we're going to, first of all, first thing we're gonna talk about, because I wanna promote the crap out of this, is tomorrow's show. We will have none other than head coach Greg McDermott on the show. So, we usually have coach
outstanding.
on as the season starts, we usually have him on after the season ends, and in between, we kinda leave him alone because his schedule is so packed. So,
Well, I
we're
mean,
very
with
excited
with
to get coach on here.
with the coach in waiting, he's got so much more time to do important interviews with Blue Jay
Well, I don't know
Banters.
about that, but, I think, and that's one question I wanna ask him, like, You know, like I know personally, and I think most people are like this. You've started a team, well, whatever it is. You've started it, you've ran it, you've built it up. You know what works and what doesn't work. You're there. You're at the pinnacle of what you're doing, and then I'm gonna hand it over to this guy. And it's so hard.
Oh, I'm
Like,
sure.
it's
Well, and part of figuring out what to do is learn what not to do, and
right.
maybe Huss will be saved from some of that, or maybe he won't learn a few important lessons along the way. And this
Yeah,
whole process is going to be really interesting.
yeah. Um, I'm going to write about that today, as part of my uh, bi-monthly recruiting report, something I've kind of picked up on a little bit. So I'll save it. So you go to bluejabanner.com and you can read all about it.
Well, I very much look forward to reading that.
All right. All right. So we're going to do a couple things today. We're going to, Mike and I talked the other day about, Mike Rochon and I talked the other day about, Max saying this is an important week as far as the roster goes. So we thought we'd kinda do our own little depth chart here and kinda get a feel for how difficult this is gonna be, and then we're also gonna take a quick look at the non-conference, something we haven't done yet as we begin this. Gotta just rank the non-conference games, maybe not just strictly by the opponent, but kind of how they fall in the schedule and so forth as well. But, first we wanna thank, Infusion Brewing Company. Fusion Brewing, go to infusionbrewing.com. Check out all the great beers they have to offer. They've got a great lineup of fall beers right now. and, this morning you can't have a more fall day, heavy fog, cold.
Oh, be careful out there. It is thick and visibility is I can barely see across the street, Tim. It's nasty out.
And, yeah, so great evening to go sit in the shanty there at, Infusion Brewing Company and have some cold ones and test out their fall beers and see what you like, and you can buy the beer right there, of course. So that's infusionbrewing.com. And then also RTI Threads, our newest sponsor, and they also, sponsor our post-game show. Go there, find all the crate and gear possible. I had, there were some comments in the, chat the other day like, "Hey, where did you get your hat, Tim?" Well, I got it right there at RTI Threads,
I
so
believe I asked you that same thing about a
yeah.
month ago. I've gotta work on getting some
So
fresh
nice job,
swag.
Katie. Great promotion idea. So go to RTI Threads and check out all they have to offer. And like it, if you missed it out, look at view yesterday's show because we talk a lot about the things that'll be going on with RTI Threads in our post game. So you're gonna win some great prizes, and we've got a couple lined up for their first game, and one is like an autographed jersey, one's an autographed mini basketball. So it's going to behoove you to watch it live, and then also if you can't do that, make sure you watch the go onto YouTube as quickly as possible. Watch it, get your name in the hat for the drawing for the prizes. So there we go. All
Very
right,
cool.
let's kick this off. Let's do the schedule first because I think that's probably the easiest part of this whole thing. So we're
Sure.
going to go in reverse order. So we're going to go the easiest game on the schedule, and I have a nice little starting point here. Um, I think Utah Tech.
Yeah, I would say Utah
Where
Tech or
because
Nichols.
where it falls in the schedule,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
because we tend not to. Because Mac always likes to win that game before Christmas.
yeah. Very
He ain't scheduling somebody he's gonna lose to. That's where I'm looking at this.
well, I go back to was it Valley Days, North Texas? Was that the last time we lost that game? Um,
Oh, wow,
because
that was a long time ago.
it was quite a while ago. I believe it was the season after Doug in Austin. We had quite the Texas pipeline going at the time because of Lutz, with oh gosh,
Yeah.
a number of guys, and we went down there and we were
Oh, down at North Texas, yeah, I remember
yeah
that. I think I get when you mention Valley Days and Christmas, I always think of that game in between. We were always looking forward to it because it's such a big crowd, and we would lose that game or we'd win it. Like, I remember we lost to Drake one year, we lost to, like,
yeah,
Northern Iowa one year, yeah, it was kinda weird. But
and
anyway,
maybe this is one of those interesting lessons that Mac has lost or learned over the years.
right. So I think that's probably you're just coming off um 2 Big East games, that's not a scary thing. 2 nights later, you're playing Utah Tech after you're playing Marquette.
Yeah,
So,
Xavier and Marquette, and then Utah Tech,
yeah,
and
so that's kinda
I'll be
sandwiched in
honest,
between there.
I didn't know there was a Utah Tech, so,
Yeah, they just transitioned not that long ago.
yeah.
Okay, so that's number 1. Then the 2nd game I would pick would be the Maryland Eastern Shore game.
Du- du- du.
I put that next. You had mentioned Nichols. Nichols is not favored to win their conference this year, but they have won it just in, like, the last year or 2. So I think they're a stronger team. Maryland Eastern Shore kind of like
Well, that's so, I'm gonna make fun of Rob for just a second here, because 'cause I'm on the, Creighton schedule page, and I believe Maryland Eastern Shore is listed as TBD.
I don't know. I've got on Go Creighton. It's November 14th. So,
Uh,
oh, okay. Well, whatever. Anyway, it's
oh, wait.
November 14th, the
Oh,
Friday
no,
game.
you're right. I'm scrolling up. There it is. Yes.
So it's yeah, I would say that's 2 and I would say Nichols I would go 3.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. So Utah
And then
Tech easiest, next easiest Eastern Shore, next easiest Nichols. Now it comes fun. The next easiest to me would be North Dakota
I would go North Dakota and then South
and then
Dakota
South Dakota.
as
Right.
we knock out the Dakotas. Yeah,
Yeah.
South Dakota just,
South Dakota's
well,
gonna be for an opener, that's kinda tough, actually.
yeah, that's they're a sneaky good program, and North Dakota's is, I mean, top to bottom, as you well know, just a great hockey program, a
Right.
great, FCS football program. I think there's a lot of pride but, um,
They've never been
basketball,
able they've never been able to get over the hump of basketball and football past North Dakota State. That's kinda where,
yeah.
I'm sure they battle for the same recruits a lot of times, not in football, but in because North Dakota State battles power teams for recruits in football, okay?
Yeah,
Um,
at one point, I kinda followed North Dakota a little bit. Of course, Marlon Stewart ended up there,
yes,
but he was
yeah.
coached by, um oh my gosh, a guy from Rock Island, Illinois, which is essentially my hometown, and, he was a Valley guy that had played for Mac, and Brian Jones, who had gone to, Northern Iowa and played for Mac and been a pretty good player there. He was there, oh gosh, I mean, the Esslinger or who Edelfinger, what was that real big guy's name? And he played alongside him at one point, but after, I don't know, he was up there, I want to say 10 years or so, and then went back to Illinois State and has since dissolved into the basketball ether. Where are you, Brian Jones?
What's disappointing about North Dakota is, man, it would've been great to play him last year and watch that Trace and Eagle staff because he's so fun to watch. He's actually at West Virginia now, so we'll see how that goes for
Yeah,
him.
it's not like they don't have good players pop up there. And
And I think that's kind of his background and everything, that's kind of the perfect spot for him. Like, yeah, kind of a smaller college, community, and you're kind of out of the way and everything anyway.
Well, how
Anyway,
big is North Dakota? It's got to be 8,000 or so.
oh, it's a pretty big school, yeah.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's all about hockey, man. Yeah, they sell out every game. All right, so that's basically the bye games taken care of, right? So now we gotta kinda rank the other games. The next in line, phew, this is a tough one. I'm torn between, like, Kansas State and Nebraska, only because, God, we're never gonna look past Nebraska, but we could look past Kansas State, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
Kansas State seems like they have lost some of the momentum that they had when, oh gosh, and the coach's name
Well,
escapes
they've
me.
lost a lot of momentum since then, yeah, you're right.
I mean, he came in from Baylor as an assistant, and we'll get to them in a minute, um, and just was gangbusters out of the gate. And then, of course, Art went there, and we thought, oh well, we'll keep an eye on Art. And without Art, not much changed at Kansas State. So, and I really haven't looked into what
I
Nebraska's doing this year. When you mention them next, I believe they've got
they beat
just
they
a.
beat BYU.
Oh,
BYU's
okay.
ranked top 15, yeah.
Oh, wow. I was gonna say I think they have a
Yeah,
new cast of
they
characters, but I
shot
don't
lights out, they couldn't
really.
miss.
Okay.
Yeah. Remember
Well,
that big center that was there a few years ago? He was hurt last year. He sat out, he came back.
oh,
Can shoot the
really
3.
good passer, Emick
Yeah, he can
or
shoot the 3. Yeah, he's gonna shoot the 3. But so you can disagree with me, so if you want here, so we can have a debate on this. I think because Kansas State falls right after Nebraska, it's falling right on finals at the end of finals week. We always seem to struggle with that game,
yeah,
and
and
it's
it's
at home, and it's on Fox. It's kinda like a perfect trap for us. I'm gonna say
yeah,
that, and this is no slight against Nebraska. I'm just saying I think that's gonna be a tougher game where the schedule falls in Nebraska.
and of course it's followed with our first conference game.
Right,
So,
yeah, so it's kind of a
the
sandwich game there.
it's not it's gonna challenge the focus of our
Would
guys.
you agree with me on that? So
Yeah,
slightly and it's
yeah,
very
kinda,
close, but
and
I
we're
would say
we're looking at all the off the court things.
yeah,
I really agree with you.
okay. So there will go so in easiest in order, so the Dakotas and then Nebraska, then Kansas State, and then we have 3 games left. We're not gonna do the 3rd game, obviously, we don't know who we're playing. So we have Iowa State, Baylor, and Gonzaga. I think, of that 3, if I had to pick an easier one, I would say Baylor only because we already played Iowa State, and we played them without Lipsy, and we could have a little bit of a, like, "Oh, well, we've kinda cleaned their clock in an exhibition game," you know?
Well, I think a lot of it would depend, is Lipsy gonna play? Like, I've been hearing that he might not
Yeah,
be
that's
ready at
true.
that point, so,
If he doesn't play, then I would say Iowa State's the easier game.
yeah, I agree with you 100% there. Now, of course,
Yeah.
Baylor, Scott Drew is a championship level coach, multiple deep runs in the NCAA, he's got a ring, um, he's never a guy that you can look past.
Right, I'm not yeah, I
Yeah.
just don't know. I don't think, if you look at the national rankings and so forth and where people have them in bracketology, and by the way, my first bracket's out today, so you can go to Brackettville and see it.
Ah.
Um, I gave you a sneak peek yesterday, but, Baylor's not up there where they used to be, so maybe people don't believe in what they have, so we'll see. And obviously Gonzaga, I think, is easily the toughest, just because not only that we're going out and playing in the kennel, but where it is, it's the second game of the year. That's really tough when we haven't got our feet really underneath us.
Oh, I mean, if you've been to either of the games, it's pretty clear we just we don't know what our rotations are yet, and we have guys trying to figure
Hey,
out their roles.
what a segue. Thank you, Mike. What a segue. So
Yeah.
now we wanna talk a little bit about Coach Mack and something we're gonna talk with Coach Mack again. Coach Mack's gonna join us tomorrow. Something we'll talk about this week of fettering out the roster and figuring it out. So we're just gonna get a very loosely, depth chart. So we're just going off of the starting lineup last time was Graves, Dix, Green, McAndrew, and Freeman.
Yep.
Alright? So we can kind of assume that's where they're gonna go.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I
Okay,
mean,
so backup, the easiest backup is Ty Davis at the point. That's easy.
yeah,
So
I
he
won't
would
argue
be
that.
he'd be second team, if we're doing whatever. So that
Yeah.
would be second team, alright. So now if we go to the backup center would be Conan, I think.
I mean,
I
that
mean, that's who they put out there.
it's an
I mean,
interesting question, and just in terms of, well, he's the guy that makes the most sense on the roster, but
yeah.
it could be Trout, it could be Green.
Well, it could be yeah, well, yeah, and then if it's Green, we've already listed him as a starter, so then now, yeah, it's an interesting and that's where I think even though Mac wants to get it to say 10, I think he's still gonna have 11 there because I think that Green thing pulls him
Well,
out, and then you've gotta have a 3, and Jackson's probably not gonna play the 3, so then now or Trout for that matter, so then that brings another guy into play,
right.
probably Hudson Greer. That kinda gives you an out, you know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna go small, then you can move Hudson Greer to the 3.
And like you mentioned, um, Hudson didn't come here to play bench.
Well,
And
or Blake Harper, I guess you could do
yeah,
that route.
well, true, because Blake did start a game. And I think Mac is going to give, as we've seen in the past, miss you, Mason. Um, he will give every opportunity to try to figure it out and um, you know make shots when he's out there on the floor. In fact, to the point where last game he was yelling at Isaac, "Shoot the ball."
Yeah.
Um, and
So
Jason, I think is our leader. Jason will get minutes, whether it be at the 5-4 or the 3.
okay. So let's just for this just so this discussion, let's pretend Conan, I'm sorry, is gonna be the backup, okay?
Yeah, and I'd like to
Okay.
see that.
So now let's go 3 2, 3, 4. So I would think naturally, because he's got some experience and Mac likes experience, Fedora would be in that mix.
Yeah, and Fedora's
Or
got to
correct?
pick it up too.
Correct.
I mean,
Okay. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely does. Again, you'll wanna go to bluejabanner.com. I have some Fedora, Jason Green ties to recruiting in that article today. Okay, so, yeah, so Fedora, Let's just say Fedor, okay? But, yeah,
And nipping at Fedor's heels is Schwartz.
I can't see Fedor sitting on being 11th or 12th guy, though. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
well, we think we know what's there. We just haven't seen it really yet.
alright. So
Well,
then that
and also he's coming off a mild injury, it sounds like.
yeah. So that leaves, like, the 3 and 4 backup, that we're really talking about right now.
Yep, yep,
We've already talked about the situation where Green could play small, okay? So that leaves 2 spots for what I would consider 4 guys.
yeah,
That's your problem. You got
yeah.
Blake Harper, Isaac Trout, who am I missing here? Schwartz and Hudson Greer.
Right.
So
And
that's
boy,
4 guys in 2 spots. So if you
Schwartz,
really that's where I think the problem is, like, if you really wanna cut it to 10, you gotta have 2 pretty decent players sitting on the bench, and are you gonna frankly a guy who's Mac is loyal, and again, he's the other name that'll be thrown in my article today, and I don't wanna ruin it, so I'm not gonna really get into it here, but he's another guy that, you're like, "Okay, we have this guy. Can he hold his own as a backup center if we go small?
yeah,
Can he hold his own defensively at the 4? We know he can shoot, so but he's experienced and he just is, really liked by everybody. I mean, he just does everything you ask him and is very loyal and a good teammate. So you're saying to yourself, am I gonna just tell that guy he's not gonna get any minutes?" I find that hard to believe. On the other hand, so far, Schwartz has looked pretty good.
uh, right. Schwartz was like, well, I didn't really know much about him. He was a freshman at Miami. He struggled there. Um, and my gosh, I looked at the box score after the Colorado State game, and there's Schwartz, and
Yeah.
he gave us good minutes and good production.
So
So
you would think he and, Hudson and Blake are battling for potential 3 spot. Blake can play all over the place kinda
yeah,
but Schwartz is definitely a 3. Okay,
I
so so now you gotta make a choice there, right? And the odd guy out between Hudson and, Blake, and I don't think they wanna put Hudson at the 4. So really, it's Blake and
no,
Trout would be your
uh,
backup 4s.
Mac
Hudson
very.
and
I was
Hudson
gonna
and
say,
Schwartz would be backup 3s.
yeah, Mac very traditionally has wanted freshmen to only play one spot, and I think that's
Right.
mostly, yeah,
Yeah.
most,
We talked about that with Dix after the game. He's like, "Look, everybody was jumping on me, your Dix isn't a point guard." Mac even said after the last game, he goes, "Yeah, we can play Dix at the point, but right now we want him just to learn the 2 right now.
right,
We're not."
right,
Yeah. 'Cause
yeah,
at Iowa, like, people forget, it wasn't last year, but the year before, he played point at Iowa, okay? In the
yeah,
Big
and
Ten, point
he's
guard, so
certainly gonna give, yeah, a
do it.
veteran more
Uh,
rope there.
alright, so all of that, and we're still befuddled because we're leaving guy out?
I you know
Josh Townley Thomas is impressed people.
I'm telling you, when I saw Josh on the floor, he was bringing energy on both ends,
Right.
and getting after it, and you confirmed in the post game with Huss just singing his praises.
Right.
So
Yeah, you can tell he's a Huss guy, and you can tell he and Huss had this relationship because Huss talked to him in the summer about what he had to do,
yeah,
that he feel he was really grasping his opportunity, and I think it was just natural because he'd sat behind Kalk so long, and he was a walk-on, he was just like, when I get on the floor, I get on the floor. There's nothing I can do about it." Because I remember last year at practices, I'd go, "God, he really looks good," and they go, "Well, Tim, he's behind Kalk and Fred. He's not gonna get any playing time."
yeah. I hope. I mean, however this gets figured out, we were so excited at the just miraculous return of Fedor. And I wonder, could that be a little bit of a curse for us this season?
Yeah.
And that this is nothing to say of Fedor as a player because I think he's
Right.
going to be a tremendous player, but more just like to the detriment of some
Other guys.
rotations
Yeah.
and some development of other guys. It's just maybe, I mean, not just one too many, but two too many. Like, in boy, it's just, I don't know. I don't know how he's going to do it.
I think a lot of this has to do with what we don't know, and what even tomorrow in our interview with Mac, he's not gonna say, and that is the behind the scenes, behind closed doors, and really the, dynamic Mac has, and I know I can tell you this without asking Mac, I know this for a fact. Mac and Hudson's dad, Josh, Greer. Josh loves Creighton. He loves everything about it. He played at St. Mary's, so a similar, type of institution.
Sure.
Great, a little bigger, but he loves everything about Creighton. He loves everything about it, and he loves Coach Mack. So I'm thinking those 2 guys have a really good relationship, and so anything he's gonna do with Hudson, I would think dad would be on board, and I would think that maybe that would be an easier conversation to just say, "Hey, we're gonna work Hud in when we can. We know there's probably gonna be some injuries, so
Yeah.
then he need a shot, but he's gotta keep working in practice, working hard, and, so I yeah, I'm the one who said, you cannot give a kid like this playing time, he's gonna be gone." But
Yeah, the
maybe
highest rated recruit we've ever had. And
maybe
we're,
the relationship is so good that we can't. Okay, I don't know,
yeah,
and who knows? He might be number 9 on their list, I don't know. So, that and the other thing was Schwartz, like, did we when we brought him in, to say, "Hey, look, you know, it's gonna be a little bit. We
right.
gotta and we got a lot of people at your position, but typically we've been short at the guard position because we have injuries, and you're gonna get your shot, so don't worry about it." Same way Blake Harper this summer, they were saying, oh, man, Mac was just going, "Oh, man, he's so far away on defense. He's probably gonna be a project more than he is getting on the floor." Well, now they've kinda changed that. So
He
there's
does
3
a nice job rebounding. Yeah.
say to those 3 guys, "Hey, you know what? They're on the outs. Well, then you can wheel Trout and Townley Thomas in there and Hud in there really easily." They also yeah,
Well,
it's interesting to
and
see.
and to a degree, Mac might be a little out of his comfort zone. Now, I know publicly he's been saying, "Oh, the reason I think we lost to Auburn was we didn't have enough depth." And typically, he likes, we all know he likes having 8 guys and riding those guys. And it's made sense because there's been such a gap between that piece that gets on the floor and, the deeper bench usually. And, it's we've had some spots that, well, like Ty, for instance, last year. Hey, Ty was in a development role, and he wasn't getting on the floor unless we were up big or down big. But we kind of, or foul trouble. And he knew that and accepted that, and it worked out great. But boy, we we got all these guys, and the separation between them um, is minor. It's I don't know how you figure it out because from a skill standpoint, um, it's not that they're all bringing the same thing to the table, but a lot of what they're bringing, I mean, other than I think Jason, you would go, well, that guy's our defender. That guy's our leader. You
Yeah,
know, we're not looking for offense from Jason, even though holy crap, that little baby hook is getting automatic for him. He gets it down near the paint and it's looking really good right now. So I good luck, Mac. Good luck.
so yeah, so chance for a plug here. So yeah, go back and watch the postgame show after the Colorado State game. Jason Green was on there, and we talked about his inside post moves and so forth. We also talked with Coach Huss, and we've referenced it a couple times about talking with Josh Townley Thomas and others on that. So check that out as well. All right, so you can see kind of the conundrum we have. Maybe tomorrow Mac will break news and tell us who exactly how the rotation is going to go, but I doubt
Well,
it.
or maybe, we're notorious for having the game plan, offense and defensive approach, and maybe that'll affect who does get starts and who
Right, and
does get minutes. I don't
I
I don't
think
think
this.
so, but it could.
I don't think this is gonna be solidified at the South Dakota State tip either. Like,
No.
he's gonna see so and so, "Oh, yeah, so and so, I can't trust him in this situation," and we're gonna see it in Gonzaga, like, in that atmosphere, who's gonna be able to handle that? Like, you know, that's gonna be interesting too. You've got, you know, Harper, who didn't play in front of, like, big crowds or anything. Now neither is Hud, but he played at such a high level,
Yeah,
at the level that he's used to playing with anybody, so he's
right.
probably a little more comfortable, and then, Swartz kinda in between, right? He played at Miami, but they didn't have a lot of crowd, but they went on the road and played at places like Duke and North Carolina, so, you know, it's gonna be interesting, yeah,
It
and
it
I don't think it's gonna be settled. I think it's gonna be a moving target. I think it'll be like, "Okay, just to throw out a name. Yeah, Blake is what we thought. He's got a ways to go on defense. Okay, we're gonna put Hud out there because Hud can hustle and get. We're getting killed on the boards, and Hud hustles and gets a lot of offensive rebounds. So
yeah.
yeah,
I
things like that going on.
you know, like to see this settled by early January or, at least kind
Be
of.
horrible. Yeah, I think we'll have it sorted out by then.
Yeah. I mean, and you mentioned Gonzaga. Um, hey, what a break for us that their big guy just got ruled by the courts to be eligible. So they're I'm sure experiencing issues and working him in because you didn't
Yeah,
know if he was going to play. Um, what an interesting time for college basketball that we live
it is. It is. All right. So again, tomorrow, exclusive with Coach Mac tomorrow. So make sure you join us then. And also, you can go over to Bracketville, see my bracket today. Go to bluejabanner.com. You'll see a recruiting article today. And then make sure to hit our sponsors, Infusion Brewing Company and RTI Threads. I want to thank them very much. And put a plug in here. We're powered by Riverside FM, a great podcasting platform. Thanks, Mike, for filling in. Really appreciate it. And everybody, we will see you tomorrow with Coach Mac.
in. Good stuff, man. Is it not the great